it's your girl Cheryl Lynn, and you're watching Sweep the League on Alamo City Podcast Network.
Hey, this is George Iceman Gervin, and you're listening to Sweep the League.
Welcome. It is Thursday. It is Sweep the League. It is episode 1, 2, 3. It's somewhere in the episode. It's in the comments in the title right there. This is Rudy Campos Jr. We are sweeping the league again, and we have a special guest today, Joe Garcia from the Two Shots podcast, as well as the Alamo City Sportscast in the morning, all a part of the Alamo City Podcast Network. Again, go to YouTube, subscribe. All you got to do is search Alamo City Podcast Network. Follow us there, subscribe there. You can find our show, Sweep the League. You can find the Alamo City Sportscast as well. Two Shots Podcast going up on there, as well as Brandon Medina's Generation Duo. We were supposed to be joined today by the mock draft guy himself, but he has a little bit of a scheduling conflict, so we're going to get him on for next week. No problem, hey, man, where everybody works, so we've got to get schedules aligned. Gio will be here in a little bit. He's running late. He's exercising apparently, and it went a little bit overboard. So until Gio gets in, we're going to hold on the draft talk. We will get to all of your draft questions. Today we've got Caleb Williams talk, all the quarterbacks. You know, we've probably talked some defensive guys. We'll talk whatever you guys want to talk about when it comes to the NFL draft 2024. This is Sweep the League. Let's go ahead and bring on Joe Garcia. While we wait for Gio, we're going to talk a little bit of Patty Mills because, Joe, man, welcome to Sweep the League, man. Dude, just first and foremost, man, I mean, how's it going over there in the mornings? Because you and Mike are doing great things out there at the Sportscast.
Oh, it's going good, man. You know how that goes, though. Mike likes to go ahead and go off the beaten trail, man, and say some horrible takes once in a while. And he was complaining that it's being cold, lately, especially today. I told him, well, you can always warm up with some of your bad takes, they'll keep you warm.
Hot takes.
So it's been good. We like to host Mike, but we do it lovingly, but it's been good. We've had great interaction. We're bringing, sending people your way as well. So some of the faithful, like Tim Gonzalez here, comes over and supports you as well. So we encourage that, man.
Yeah, definitely. Tim's always in there. Tim's always one of the first ones to comment about the Blue Devils and Tar Heels suck. That's kind of a staple for Sweep the League now. We have to make sure we get the Tar Heels suck thing in there, which Tim always reminds me that my Tar Heels do suck. How about my Blue Devils last night? It says Mike disrespecting wrestling today. I'm usually in meetings during the morning, so it's hard for me to listen to the episodes. But I thought I saw a video of him at a recent local wrestling event, and he fell in love, apparently, I guess.
He was smitten by one of the female wrestlers, but after doing some research, he found out that female wrestler he was smitten with was only 19 years of age. So he's going to have to rescind his smittenness.
Well, okay, so she's 19. She's an adult. I mean, is that...
I don't know. Mike just likes to make stuff weird, That's just him. I'm like, bro, you could have just said you were smitten and left it alone. Now I'm like, bro, why do you? He always makes shit weird. That's the thing with Mike, bro. Always makes it weird. I'm like, okay, just let it be, bro. No big deal. No.
He makes it weird, but he has to go that extra, the director's cut to where it adds this and this and this to it.
Man. Yeah. He just can't leave well enough alone, man.
It's Mike, like Gio says, Mike says Mike to push the needle, and hey, I mean, you push the needle all you want, man.
On the daily, bro. Like I call him barbecue chicken. That's my nickname for him. Every day you just look, it's like those rotisserie chickens at HEB. Yeah, they're constantly getting cooked. That's Mike, bro.
Man, I see it. I see it on Twitter. I don't, like I said, I'm busy in the morning, so it's hard for me to actually watch the show. But I see it on Twitter, and when I log into Twitter, well, it's X. I keep calling it Twitter. It's always going to be Twitter. Forget the X, man. Who cares? Get the X out. Twitter is going to always be for my thing. But when I finally log in and I have 15 notifications, 20 notifications, 20 plus notifications, I already medically assume it's like 15 or 20 of them are Mike's. type of things or whatever, man.
Yeah,
So
man.
it's cooking season for him. Hey, man, well, I got you here. Before Gio comes on, we talked some NFL draft and NFL football stuff. I wanted to talk a little bit about Spurs here, but let me get the Cheeseman Cham going so we can talk a little Spurs basketball.
So, like, I hear about the Spurs this y Spurs that, y como que esto y esta, pero I never hear about the real Spurs chisme. Dime, por favor.
And gracias por ti, our Spurs Cheeseman girl, dropping the Spurs Cheeseman here. So there is a little bit of Cheeseman, and it's weird, Joe, because you, as well as everybody knows, that the times that you and I have we've collabed and we've talked about Spurs and all that stuff. It's kind of crazy because no matter who it is, it could be, Michael Olowokandi, or it could be, any player in the league. It just seems like whenever a player is cut from another roster, you have a, pretty good amount of Spurs people saying, hey, Spurs, we could use this guy. Hey, Spurs, we could use this guy. Hey, this guy could definitely fit with the Spurs. I mean, you could have, what was that, Airbud, being released, and the Spurs are going to first fans are going to find a way to get him on the roster. But today's Patty Mills, man. Patty Mills has been released, and next thing you know, I see Patty Mills is released. I go on to X, and already like 5 or 6 posts. Wow, well, hey, Spurs, we have Patty Mills. We can bring him home. We can do that. Is it time to just retire the bring everybody in when they're cut, scenario for every single player, man, past or present?
No, man. Let Petty come home, dude. I mean, he was a staple here with the San Antonio Spurs. Did a lot for the community. He's beloved. He's a beloved Spur.
Mm-hmm.
This is his last hurrah. Let him come home, man. Spurs, do him a solid. Let him come home. Let him finish off the season on a losing team and send him off to the sunset in a silver and black jersey.
But you just said a losing team.
Yeah,
I mean,
man.
If this is Patty's last hurrah, do you really think he wants to come to the Spurs instead of maybe going to, possibly a Phoenix or possibly, the Lakers or somewhere where he has an opportunity to possibly win a title?
Well, here's the thing. If it's his last hurrah, there's a special place for him here in San Antonio, right? He has special ties to San Antonio. Why wouldn't he want to come home if he's feeling sentimental? If he goes to a winning team, he wants to go ahead and compete. More than likely, he's just going to be riding the pine pony, sitting on the bench there, watching it happen. Unless somebody gets injured and they need a couple minutes out of him, that's probably what he's good for. But let's be honest, man. His better days are behind him. Mm-hmm. So, he's going to also want to go play for those winning teams. If he wants to, hey, more power to Patty. But he's feeling sentimental. And he's like, you know what? Maybe I'll just go home and send old Coach Pop off as well, So, yeah, we'll see what happens.
I guess.
He's going to get fired or retired. Let's be clear about that, because Jimenez will get this and try to run with it, So I'm not saying that, man. I'm just saying, hey, maybe he just wants one last hurrah with Coach Pop.
Yeah, Jimenez already hit the CapCut app and is already recording and making this video to get you on tomorrow's show. JC's in here as well. He says it was a bit off on his 9-0 rodeo road trip prediction. If I remember correctly, I got to go to the tapes, and it's going to be a while because I can't even remember what episode it was. I was with Jeff, but I think I predicted a 1-8. Yeah, rodeo road trip, which was 1-8 was what they did, and couldn't even tell you what game I probably picked for them to win, but I believe it was a 1-8 prediction. Again, it's a tough season for the Spurs. Hey, you bring back Patty Mills. He's an answer to one question: is point guard play? But like you mentioned, Joe, it's on his last hurrah. How much time is he going to actually want to play? Does he even want to put up 15, 20 minutes a game? I know he's a competitor, but let's be real. The Patty Mills, best part about Patty Mills was Olympic Patty Mills was beyond, any other Patty Mills or NBA Patty Mills we'll ever see. But you're right. Patty in a Spurs uniform again. That'd be awesome. That'd be
Patty
cool.
the Batty. Bring him back home.
Patty the Batty, man. It's a locker room guy. Pretty much. It's just a locker room guy. I don't see anything more. But my biggest gripe is, like I said, everybody that gets cut, everybody that's, we're buying so-and-so out. Hey, Spurs, we could use him. You cannot use every damn player that gets cut in the NBA. It's just not. Oh, God, man. That was the Spurs cheeseman right there. As far as other Cheeseman, Joe, we're seeing that Austin Spurs, the Austin Spurs are making some moves. They're doing some really, really good things in Austin. Can you see that the trend? Now, this is, I guess, where I'm looking for Austin, kind of off the cuff here, but when you look at the Austin Spurs, I mean, can you see the transition for a lot of these guys? And I'm even talking about coaching staff. How would you say they're probably the best developmental organization in the league right now?
They used to be.
They used to be. Yeah.
They used to be. I don't know about as of late, because all those guys that they are developing as they start coming into, playing with the San Antonio Spurs in this current iteration of the team. Mm-hmm. We've seen that the players that are coming over here aren't that great. They're not of the caliber of player that's going to have a dramatic impact on the team. Yeah. As far as being a developmental powerhouse, I think those days are behind the San Antonio Spurs. I think now they try to do an adequate job of trying to get these young guys ready to make the transition from the G League over to the NBA. But as far as the juggernaut that used to be San Antonio Spurs talent and powerhouses and developmental developing players, I think those are behind us now.
Yeah, man, I think so. The good thing about the Spurs developmental thing is, in past years, they've been really great at developing players. You've seen, the rise of certain players and stuff, especially over summer league play. But you've got two guys in particular. You've got Asidi Suzuku. You've got Dominic Barlow. Barlow's already been proven that he can play in the league. He should get more minutes. I mean, there's a couple of guys there that you might be able to swing, but again, I'm kind of with you. I just wanted to ask somebody about the developmental part about the Austin Spurs. I think that's something that people don't realize, is that it's very important for a young organization. I mean, it's like baseball. You have AAA, AA. These guys got to work their way up.
I think they do a good job. Let's put it like that. But it's not like they're developing elite level talent,
No, I mean, well, in the NBA, elite's going to be in the NBA. Yeah. Elite's going to be elite, and they're going to stay there. So I doubt we'll see any of these big time guys going back down. This is Sweep the League. Talking with Joe Garcia, Two Shots Podcast, Alamo City Sportscast. The CEO, the head of the table, that's what they call him at the wrestling events, right? The tribal chief of the Alamo City the Alamo City Podcast Network. Joe Garcia here.
I guess Jimenez will be that guy. What's it? His manager. What's his name?
Oh, Paul Heyman.
That's going to be Mike with the two phones. I'm going to call The Rock.
Oh, my God. Hey, man, one thing tonight is happening. The Spurs are playing the Thunder. They're back home, finally playing the Thunder. Give me your quickest prediction, Joe, because I don't predict the victory. I'll be honest. I'm just going to say that flat out. I don't predict the victory.
No, man. This one, the Spurs could make it close if they felt like actually playing, Mm-hmm. Basketball for the full 48 minutes, but this is a young team. They're tired. This is the last, I guess, getting close to one of the last stretches of the year, so to speak. You're in the home stretch now because we're in the month of March. Mm-hmm. Everybody's tired, bro. How good do you think they're going to be after this gamut that is the rodeo road trip? This is pretty much it for them. I think they're tired. They're looking at 1, 2, 3 Cancun. Let's be honest. They've already talked with the travel agents. They've already made their reservations. Their eyes are not set on OKC. It's set on sunny beaches and sand, bro. It's going to be ugly, and it's going to get ugly quick.
Yeah, I think that's a good question. That's what I was going to bring up. David brings it up. David Atwater here. Chet versus Wemby, man. Now Wemby, clear-cut favorite to win Rookie of the Year. He's pretty much just pulled away from Chet and guys like Jaime Jaquez, Brandon Miller, a lot of these guys, Przynski from Golden State. He's pretty much pulled away and will be the NBA Rookie of the Year. But another Chet versus Wemby matchup. I've called this with Jeff, our good friend from Locked On Spurs. I've said this is the modern-day Bill Russell, Wilt Chamberlain matchup. You can even go as far as, maybe the Olajuwon and Shaq days, Olajuwon and Robinson days. This is the new era of big man. So is it as close? Do you think Wemby just manhandles Chet tonight, or is it going to actually be close? Because Chet's actually held his own against Vic. Not great, but he's held his own against Vic in the matchups previous. And I don't care about record. Screw records.
These two ain't the same, Rudy. And you've seen a little dog in Wemby. That's all I'm saying. Like the last time they had that matchup, They were going toe to toe, going at each other. But then there was a period of time there where Wemby said, F it, I'm going to show this dude what I really can do. Mm-hmm. And when he dunked, and then he stared him down, I was like, oh, mira, Wemby's got some dog in him. All right. I see that fire. I see you, Wemby. And he started coming at Chet, and he was like, no, this is my game now. This is me coming after the, Rookie of the Year trophy. Mm-hmm. So he really showed Chet that he has another gear he can go to. Chet, I'm not saying nothing bad about him. I think he's a great young talent that we have in the league. But Wemby's got another gear, and he can go deep. And when he gets there, I like it. See that little hood Wemby come out there, So I think Wemby and Chet, again, is going to be a great matchup to see. But the question that I pose to you is, how much are we going to see this one-on-one scenario take place? It didn't happen until near the end of the game. I think there's going to be a lot of teasing and maybe some little trickling here and there. But finally, when they get to the third and fourth quarter, they'll probably say, all right, y'all can go at each other a little bit more.
Probably so. I mean, if it's a close game, I think, you're going to see more of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander taking over the game. Jalen Williams is another guy you're probably taking over the game, but maybe so. I think you'll get a little bit of Chet and Victor towards the end if it's kind of a game where Spurs are down by 15 or even up by 15, 20, whatever. They're gonna have their moments, but the whole Chet Wemby matchup, it's so, man. I don't shoot any disrespect towards anybody, I've always said I don't say stuff just to say it. I have, reasons behind it and everything I say. Victor's averaging 20 and 10. And, he's 20 and 10. I think it's 3 blocks a game. Chet himself is averaging 17 and 7. I mean, 3 and 3 off the difference. It's not much. It's probably less than 3 on some instances, 2 point something.
How many 5x5 games did Chet have already?
Chet doesn't have the 5x5 games. I get that. Now, that's what I'm saying. Wemby's dominance on the league is far beyond what Chet's doing. And again, I throw records out. You don't know how people vote and, all that stuff. I've said that a million times. Chet makes a difference, but he doesn't move the needle for Oklahoma City when it comes to wins. It's going to be SGA. Lately, it's been Jalen Williams as well. So Chet kind of went from the second guy down to the third guy a little bit. But, with Wemby, whenever the Spurs win, it's Wemby and Wemby pretty much. I mean, he's the reason why they have 11 wins right now. I mean, we're not going to beat around the bush on that. But with Chet and Wemby, when you look at stat-wise, it's pretty similar when it comes to stats. And that's why I think the matchups between them are going to be they're going to be iconic when I say, Chet versus Wemby for years and years to come. We have Jeff Garcia, a buddy of Locked On Spurs. Should anyone be shocked if Wemby gets the Defensive Player of the Year? It doesn't shock me if he does. I don't think he gets it. I think Rudy Gobert is actually going to get Defensive Player of the Year. It wouldn't shock me if he does get Defensive Player of the Year. How do I put this, Joe? Man, it would shock me if he falls out of the top 2. I'll put it that way.
I can see that.
That's what they would shock me.
I think Wemby has made it clear that he is the favorite to win Defensive Player of the Year. The only way that I can see Chet winning is if Chet balls out the rest of the year, meaning that he's going to have to put up some spectacular numbers because let's be honest right now, Wemby is winning that race. Even the media, the national media has taken notice and said that Wemby is the favorite. Before it was Chet and it was all about him. Now they've changed their tune a little bit because Wemby has forced that narrative upon them.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. And, I think the whole Defense Player of the Year in general, it's probably going to go to Gobert. I don't really find anybody else that's going to probably get Defensive Player of the Year. It's probably going to be Gobert. And I know people have said, well, rookies really don't win Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, there's a first for everything. It's kind of hard to say that there isn't, a first for everything on that. I like Wemby's chances, but I'd be shocked if he's out of the top 10. I would be kind of shocked if he actually won it. I think it's going to go to Gobert no matter what. Talking to Joe Garcia, Two Shots Podcast, Alamo City Sportscast with Michael Jimenez in the morning, 10:15 to about 11:30. They go about an hour and 15 minutes. We're here from you 2 to 3:30. Sweep the League again. Go to YouTube, search Alamo City Podcast Network, and smash that subscribe button. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. I think, Michael's tall tale was that he's going to give away $1,000 for 1,000 subscribers. Don't quote me on that and don't hold me to that, but that's what I've heard. That's what I've heard.
I want to put some caca water in there and just have everybody go like $5 to throw and see what we can raise for charity.
Jesus Christ, I'd probably give $20 or $30 for that. That would be.
I would give you a basketball. We ain't gonna be throwing no baseball, man.
You would have me move up to the kids line and then just be like that.
I'd be like, Rudy, just here's the ball. Just straight up, just go up there and knock that son of a bitch in the water.
Try to get to 1,000 subscribers. We're gonna go a little bit of off topic here from the Spurs. We're gonna talk a little entertainment, and when I say entertainment, there's a big thing going on this weekend here. Let me see if I can get it up here. I'm going to bring Gio on as well, but Kawakan is happening this Saturday and Sunday in San Antonio. And let me bring in Gio here real quick here. Gio's going to be a part of this. Gio, we'll get to you in a second. We'll get to your punishment here in a little bit here while I get to this real quick. Kawakan's happening this Saturday between, it's from 11 to 11, I think Saturday, and 11 to 6 on Sunday over at the Henry B. Gonzalez Convention Center. Why do I bring this up? Very own Jeff Garcia is going to be a part of this this weekend, Kawakan. I'm going to be out there on Saturday with my little girl. If you guys are attending, you want to meet up and say hi, shoot the shit, talk sports or whatever, by all means, you can find me out there. I'm going to be wearing a...
Are you going to be dressing up, Rudy?
No, I'm not. I'm not gonna go cosplay. Is that what the kiddos call it? Cosplay? Yeah, I'm not gonna go cosplay. If I do, it's gonna be in a Sweep the League shirt. Something that Gio doesn't have right now. So
I thought you were gonna be wearing some tights, going as a superhero or something.
I've lost weight, but me and tights just will not go together. I can't wear tights. Gio, maybe. I think Gio can. Gio, do you do anime at all? Is he even Gio? You hear me?
Dragon Ball Z. I mean, back in the day.
Well, yeah, Dragon Ball Z. Who was your favorite character?
Android 11.
Goku and Gohan. Android 11.
Oh my god.
Probably. You know what? I'm gonna give some love for Piccolo, man. Some love for Piccolo.
I just started watching. I took my daughter last night to watch Demon Slayer in the big screen. So I guess it's the new season, the new episodes coming out. I don't know. I haven't followed it, but Demon Slayer is not a bad little show, man. I kind of like that show. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that show, but Demon
Slayer's dope, man. I like Demon Slayer.
Yeah, Demon Slayer is cool as hell. Some of the voice actors out there. It's going to be Johnny Young Bosch, Christina V. Where the hell have I've seen her at? I don't know where I've seen Christina V at, but definitely Jimenez would be on the Christina V train. Faye Mata, Kylie McNeil, Paul Castro Jr. You've also got Karen Strassman, Susie Young, Griffin Burns, and Colleen O'Shaughnessy are all going to be the voice actors out there for Kawakan, the Three Wishes this weekend. And again, most importantly, you can have all the superstars there. You can have all the stars, the voice actors and everything. But the one person that's going to make it all happen is Jeff Garcia, our very own friend here for Locked On Spurs. Jeff Garcia, he's going to be doing the panels there. And actually, Jeff commented, let me get to that real quick. So thanks to Shout Out Rudy, I'll be hosting all panels for the event. So if you're attending and you want to go say hi to Jeff, hit up one of those panels. Again, I'll be there on Saturday from 11 to, I have no idea, probably till my daughter spends all my money, which is going to probably be like 20, 30 minutes.
Man, she buys 3 things at that event, dude. You're going to be down at least a bill quick.
Well, the moment she says, Dad, I'm thirsty, that's $20 down the drain in one drink, I'm sure.
One drink and a snack. Yeah, $20.
Definitely. Hey, Gio, let's make Rudy wear Duke gears to that event. I am not wearing a Duke shirt.
You should. That could be your cosplay uniform. A Duke Blue Devils jersey.
No, you know who Rudy who reminds me of? He should go as Master. What's that guy from Dragon Ball Z?
I was like, we got to keep it
dirty old man.
The dirty old man. I'm not. My last name is not Jimenez. I'm not a dirty old man.
No, but they always have to have a pervy guy, you know.
That ain't me.
Any
That ain't
anime,
me.
man, in any anime,
You
it's
gotta
just
have
gonna
one.
be the
Joe's
old
right.
guy, the old geezer with the Hawaiian shirt, the sunglasses, bald head. I think you could pull that look off, man.
That describes a whole different side of anime that I don't want my daughter to
Oh
see.
man, come on, it's Dragon Ball Z, Rudy. Come on.
I haven't seen Dragon Ball Z. I've seen a couple of
Wait,
episodes.
you've never seen Dragon Ball Z?
I've seen a couple of episodes of
Yeah,
Dragon
Master
Ball.
Roshi, bro. Come on, Master Roshi, the old man.
I was a
Look
I
at
guess-
a picture of him.
What are you watching growing up? Gumby?
Well, I mean,
It's not like
you gotta understand.
I never watched anime growing up. I'm like, Rudy.
I'm sorry, I'm late to the party, man. I really am. Who am I looking up here? Was it Master?
Roshi from Dragon Ball Z.
Make sure you spell it right. Don't get no weird
Yeah.
search.
ROS. I don't know if we got enough money for the fine, Rudy.
Yeah, no, I'm not looking anything like that up. Y'all
Don't be
okay,
Jimenez, man. Like, last time, this boy was trying to look at something, and I was like, whoa, what are you doing?
No, man, definitely not looking stuff up. So, yeah, I can't pull that off. And this guy does kind of look creepy. Glasses, beard that, I don't know. We'll just leave it at that. Master
Like
Roast.
somebody you see at Fiesta, man. Come on now.
Well, yeah, definitely someone you see at Fiesta, someone that definitely parties with Jimenez. I can definitely.
Beyond the Fiesta Sucias, you know?
The Sucias. Oh, my God. Gio, you know what a Sucia is?
She's dirty, right?
There you go, man. I'm proud of you.
Even Gio knows this. Come on, man.
Yeah, Gio definitely knows. When Gio comes down to San Antonio, finally, we're gonna take him to Fiesta, and
You know, he's going to be talking like Charles Barkley. Man, y'all got a lot of big old women down here, Rudy.
Man, that Charles Barkley stuff was hilarious back in the day.
Yeah, you
Y'all-
everybody listen to Charles, man.
Y'all leave them San Antonio women alone, man. That's all I'm going to tell Charles.
All right, man. Hey, so Gio's back on the show with us right now. We're gonna talk some NFL draft stuff, and I know Gio's salivating at the mouth because we've been promising draft talk all week. Definitely gonna get into some draft talk. We're gonna take a quick commercial break, and Tim's in here is really like Mike Jimenez now. No,
Gee,
not
that's
like
what I'm
Mike
saying. I
That
don't
is
watch
horrible.
anime. I was like,
What does it mean to be like Mike Jimenez? I mean, I don't say stuff to say
There's
it.
a lot to go into that.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Mike was a kid, right? He's like, when I was a kid, we never watched movies, but yet
Which I call bullshit, Joe. I call
Yeah.
bullshit.
never
I mean,
watched movies. He never watched TV. It was
He has a
always
story
watching
for everything.
I was outside. I was playing. I'm like, bro, come on, man. You know, he's always got tall tales, brother. Always
I
got
know.
tall tales.
I know he's got tall tales, man. But I mean, the stuff he says, I've never seen Die Hard. What the fuck have you never seen Die Hard?
I've never seen Predator. I've never
seen Predator.
Hey, Rudy, you didn't see John Wick.
Oh yeah.
No, I hadn't seen John Wick. I did see it now. I saw part 1, part 2, part 3. I'm down for part 4.
You made it through
crazy.
part 1?
Yeah, I did. I'm actually a fan of John Wick now. I like
Part,
them.
part 4 is probably the best, and that was the last one.
Really, man, John. It's like I've heard of the movies, and I just never had time to watch them until my wife's like, "Hey, why don't we sit down and watch a movie? What do we got?" Oh, look, John Wick. I've never seen John Wick. Are you serious? I'm like, yeah, let's watch
Hey,
it.
you know how you should go to as over there at that anime Kawaii Con or whatever it's called.
Yeah, Kawhi, man, you're gonna piss off Spurs
Whoa,
fans. It's
Kawaii Con.
Kawhi, not Kawhi Con.
Kawaii Con. You should go as John Wick's missing finger, the little tip of the finger he lost.
Oh my god, man.
Go as that, dude.
Well, I mean, I could go as a dog, beat up dog or something. That would probably go really well.
I
with
don't know,
everybody
I
there.
don't know about
Don't
that.
go the Michael Vick way, okay?
Oh, why do you got to bring up former Falcons?
Hey,
That's
that would be
Oh,
something.
man.
Go dressed up as a dog wearing a Michael Vick jersey, bro.
Oh wow, that would be crazy. And
Hey,
I
that would
actually
be
have
cute.
a Michael Vick Virginia Tech jersey, so I could do that. I could definitely do that.
Gio, he's gonna get canceled before he gets in there, man.
Dude,
See what happens. I get the old rated R
Don't
crew
do it.
back, and
don't
we're
do it,
about to
Rudy.
get
Don't do it,
canceled.
man.
Episode 13 will go forever as the last episode.
Well,
on the
if you
Alamo
want to
City
win
Podcast
a
network.
costume contest, I don't think anybody's gonna beat you. You go dressed as a dog wearing a Michael Vick jersey, man. That's your costume.
Oh my god, this is not a good.
Bro.
This is not a good look already, man. I'm not going dressed at all.
Can you imagine
Hey.
going to a game wearing that?
Oh my god! What a
Well,
Falcon
I'm pretty
game?
sure.
Oh,
I
God.
gotta think there's Falcon fans wearing, well, at least a Vic jersey, but
Oh man.
You know
having a
what?
dog at on a Vic jersey.
Well, they
I
had the
don't know,
dog
man.
masks. I know they had the dog masks. That
Oh
one
God,
game.
dude.
You
I
know what?
can't
What's
imagine.
funny is that I don't have it with me. It's actually packed up on one of my boxes. But I did buy and I own a Ron Mexico Falcons jersey
Oh wow.
before they quit selling them because of obvious reasons. So for those of y'all that don't know, Michael Vick had to use the alias Ron Mexico when he went to get tested for certain things. And when that was leaked, I immediately ordered me a number 7 Mexico jersey. And I think it was like 2 or 3 days later, NFL.com says you cannot be purchasing this jersey anymore. So yeah, that's a tall tale. That's a Jimenez tall tale, but a true one. I don't give y'all the BS of like I've never seen G.I. Joe or anything like that. You know,
I want to see who would win in a foot race between Gio and Jimenez, man.
it would be Gio, man.
I know it, but Jimenez.
I'm quick on my feet, man. I'm telling you right now.
I know. I
Hey,
can do all day, dude.
man, I already know Mike's gonna give a shit in the morning show because Joe's gonna tell him everything we said. But
I'm telling you, I might not be fully black, but I'm half. Okay.
Why?
if I could only
I'm
say,
half.
okay, man, I don't want. Hey,
I'm half.
dude. So I mean, you're asking between Jimenez and Gio winning in a foot race. I go with my boy Gio. Joe, Mike sweats on the studio that you're at, man. I mean, come on, man. That would be.
Diabetes coming out of him, bro.
I mean, we are in the NFL Combine. You know, we are in the Combine. We could do a little Combine between Gio and Mike.
Dude, he'll pull
I'm
a
just
hammy,
saying.
man. I'm telling him. I told him his aerodynamic is his sponsor like aerodynamic, But the rest of them, I don't know.
That is
I don't know.
Once a great big fat person like myself gets going, that stomach takes over.
Can't stop.
And you're just getting that extra.
It's
I
like
don't know.
go ahead.
No, as I said, I'm not the fastest guy in the world, but I know I can be my Jimenez in a race. I know that.
It's gotta
If
happen.
you're going downhill, I mean, you can't stop
Yeah,
a
you
freight
won't
train or an 18-wheeler. The brakes kind of go out and it just goes where it goes, man. If Mike falls, he's just going to tumble down on you, Gio. I don't know if you can be able. It's going to be like that. Was it that scene from Indiana Jones with the boulder?
Oh my god. Yes.
Coming at
yes.
you, bro.
Yeah, if you were to look, like you mentioned about going downhill for Jimenez, it would probably look like those cheese races. Have you ever seen those?
God, bro.
I know y'all have seen those.
I've seen that, man.
So, I mean, if we're looking at what Jimenez going downhill, let's see if I can bring it up here.
Yeah.
It's like one of these things where
Dude, that's dangerous. That's dangerous.
that
right
is,
there.
that's dangerous. But I mean, that's what
jacked up there, bro.
that would be if me, Joe, Mike, and Gio decided to go race downhill. You're exactly looking at how it would be, man.
Somebody's
Oh,
getting.
my
You
God,
better have
dude.
the ambulance on standby. Somebody.
Is there any way we can make this happen? Like for us
No,
here, the
God.
sports
You
podcast.
better make sure you have some health insurance too.
Oh my god, dude! I mean, look, I'm just gonna go one more time. Look at this. This is how forget it. People just give up. Like hell no. Oh my
I
god,
wouldn't do that, bro. I'd be like, oh hell no. I'd have to wrap myself in bubble wrap first.
that's the thing. We can't do any bubble wrap, man. We're gonna take a quick commercial break here. This is Sleep the League. Joe Garcia, Gio's here. When we get back, we're gonna talk about NFL draft. We got to get an NFL draft.
We'll
talk,
talk
Gio.
sports, right?
Yeah, we will talk sports. This
Yeah, I
is,
know. Right?
This is one of the Thursday folly editions of Sweep the League, man. We'll be right back here.
Locked on Spurs is your daily Spurs podcast, hosted by Jeff Garcia, the lead Spurs writer for Ken's 5 San Antonio. Jeff has a healthy plethora of guests all the time on the Locked on Spurs podcast. You can also follow Jeff on threads at Jeff G Ken's 5 SA. You can also follow Jeff on Twitter at Jeff G Spurs Zone. So make sure you go ahead and give Jeff a follow not only on threads and Twitter, but also on YouTube at youtube.com/@Locked On Spurs. This is where you're going to be able to find the replay of the Locked On Spurs podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share.
All right, that is Jeff Garcia, Locked On Spurs. He comes on the show every now and then. We're going to try to get him on for next week because we got some Spurs stuff we want to talk about. Also, I want to kind of review Cowboy this coming up weekend, but for next week, it'll be the previous, obviously, the weekend. This weekend right here, we'll talk to Jeff about it. I want to get his insight on that stuff because it's awesome that he gets to host a lot of these panels, gets to meet a lot of the voice actors in general. So we'll talk to Jeff Garcia next week, Spurs stuff and Cowboy. As promised, we're getting back into NFL draft talk today. So we got Tim Gonzalez in here. Says Mike would definitely be Cook on Twitter if that happens. Yeah, they probably would cook Mike a lot if he did the cheese run downhill. Can we get a sponsor for that, man? I mean, we can probably we got Tim cracking up over there. I mean, definitely, we got to do the cheese thing, man. That cheese thing would be awesome. I think so. That would be pretty damn cool.
Somebody's getting hurt, man.
Someone's
gonna get her bad.
Somebody's dying out there. There's no doubt about that, man. NFL talk, man. Gio, you and I, we've covered the NFL draft for a long, long time. We were the first to get. People say tall tale bullshit. No, I don't call bullshit. You and I were the first ones to run a live NFL draft for the first round. Nobody on we did it on Facebook, as a matter of fact. We ran a live draft show for the first round. Honestly, it's been probably a good maybe 8 years already since we've done it. The very first one. We did it for a few years after that, kind of took a break. We're trying to maybe get that going again this year, trying to do a live NFL draft.
You have the platform to do it?
We do have the platform. And you know what, Jill? The thing is I've always called you the Mel Kiper for Sweep the League because you have a lot of great insight on all these draft picks. And as much as you are praising Caleb Williams, we're going to go straight into it. Chicago Bears hold the number 1 pick. Now, everybody's saying Chicago should keep Justin Fields. Chicago should trade Justin Fields. Overall, man, this is what I look at when it comes to Chicago, is they can do no right and they can do no wrong. Is that probably a fair analysis when it comes to Chicago? Because in their minds, if they feel Caleb is generational, they can move Justin and they can probably get some picks, obviously to build around Caleb. You can go out there and, maybe get an additional veteran player somewhere. You can get a lot for Justin Fields, but you know what? You can get a lot for the first pick as well. I keep asking you, what is the move for the Bears? But when I made that statement, is it right? They can do no right, they can do no wrong. It's almost like the perfect scenario for Chicago right now.
I think it really is. I mean, unless you don't think that Caleb is a generational talent like Rudy,
which I don't. I really don't.
Which Rudy does not. I do. I think he's one of the best prospects we've had in the last 6 or 7 years. Listen, there's been a lot of great quarterbacks who've come in, but I just think Caleb has the tools, the arm strength. Look, sure, he has done some questionable things, and he's a guy that kind of beats his own drum. But at the end of the day, if they surround him with the talent, right? Because, look, they can draft Caleb all they want, but if you don't surround him with the talent, Rudy, then what does that all matter? Because we've seen quarterbacks, right? I always tell you, Rudy, it matters where you go, right? Mm-hmm. Patrick Mahomes goes to the Kansas City Chiefs, and Trubisky goes to the Bears, right? It matters where you go, the system, the head coaching, the assistants, all that stuff. So for Caleb, look, you can't go wrong with trading that pick, but also getting draft picks in return. I would prefer to draft Caleb, but if you're the Bears, you get all that draft capital. You can get Marvin Harrison Jr. and potentially Brock Bowers on the offensive side of the football. Yep. And then you obviously have what you had last year, improve the offensive line in the offseason. They're going to have cap space. So Rudy, you can't go wrong. It's just, listen, that city, I've lived in that city before. They're dying for a quarterback. And, Justin Fields, that last game against the you're just wondering, is this ever going to work out? I mean, is he ever going to be the guy after how many years? 4 years in that system?
But what I'm asking is, it's okay. You ask yourself the question, will this ever work out for Justin Fields? And you've given him 4 years, but can you legitimately say that the Bears have given him the opportunity to be successful, that they've surrounded him with players to be successful? I mean, you're talking about former number 1 picks at the quarterback position. Peyton Manning's one of them. I mean, you're coming into a team, they built around Peyton, but they gave Peyton what he needed. Edgerrin James, Marvin Harrison, Reggie Wayne. They gave him players around. Justin Fields has never had players around him. I mean, the best player he has is DJ Moore. That's it.
So we can agree that the first few years wasn't the greatest cast of talents, but last year they did go out there and get a guy. And look, sure, we're going to sit back and say, well, did they give him enough? Okay, but what did he do with the pieces that he did have? I will say this, though. I like what I saw throughout most of the year. That last game, Packers would love to see more from Fields. But at the end of the day, if you have a chance to draft a generational guy who has the tools, he has the tool set. He has the ability to make plays, whether he's running to his left or right, making those throws outside the pocket. I believe Caleb can do that. You surround him with talent. But really, if they do all that and they trade the pick and next year Justin Fields is a disaster, what do you do then? Obviously, you have more talent because you've got draft picks, but you have to move on from him again and then have a new quarterback come in and start this whole process all over again?
You almost have to, but just because you don't draft a Caleb Williams this year, say you keep Justin Fields, Justin doesn't work out. Does that mean you don't go get a quarterback in the later part of the draft? I mean, you're still going to have serviceable quarterbacks later in the draft. I mean, you're seeing me personally, Bo Nix is going to go. I would love to see him go.
Listen,
I do. No, I do.
You love that 8-year. You love that 8-year senior more than me because I'm not a big fan of Bo Nix.
He's getting is he a doctor?
Dude, the guy's been in college for so long, and it's like he had a terrible when he was at that All-Star game, Rudy. Listen, I get it's just highlights, but him and Penix from Washington did not have a good day at the office there during the All-Star game. But look, sure, you can go get a Bo Nix. You can go get – I will say this, though. I do like Jaden Daniels from LSU.
That's what I was going to ask you right now. Why aren't we talking about him?
I do love his talent.
2023 Heisman Trophy winner. Why aren't we? Why isn't he in the discussion?
He is. So, he's actually in the discussion. I'm not – So go ahead, Joe. I'll let you finish that.
I would pick him over Drake May because, look, Drake May is as good as he was or as bad as what you think he was. At the end of the day, what's the upside? Daniels has the upside. Yeah. He has the ability to really, move the pocket, run around. It's not necessarily just running around, but making plays, right? We see quarterbacks nowadays. I know Cowboy fans, Dak Prescott, he can move with his legs, right? Obviously, Lamar Jackson. Patrick Mahomes can run a little bit. Josh Allen. You need your legs, and Drake May is, as athletic as he is, I don't know. I just don't, I don't see it. Rudy, he went to your school, and you don't even see it. So
no. So I never really saw it with Trubisky when he came out, and I will say this: Drake May is a better quarterback than Mitchell Trubisky, but not by much.
What's his weaknesses? Occasional miss, Drake, low behind the wide receiver. At times awkward when attempting to navigate the pocket, and some instances will try to do too much when things break down. Sounds like the bro is a little mentally weak at times. He gets a little excited and doesn't know what to do.
So Drake's problem is he's a very erratic thrower, very erratic passer. He can't make the simple
Romo-esque
throw from 10 yards to 40 yards. I mean, he's not very consistent, which is all accuracy problems. He tries to do a lot more, and it's similar to what you see with Caleb Williams. Caleb tries to be hero all the time. He tries to make a play. Instead of allowing plays to develop, Gio, the big thing about Caleb is that he tries to make a play when there's nothing there to be made.
He's got the arm strength. I'll give him that.
Caleb has the arm strength. But
he has the arm strength. I don't know.
All mental. I mean, you're talking about the biggest weakness for Caleb mentality.
He's still young. He's still young, Rudy.
I get the young part. I understand that. But you mean to tell me that you want a guy with a very low mental stability going into the NFL to be a franchise quarterback? I mean, it's tough. These guys are going to eat him up, Gio. These guys are going to eat him up bad.
Listen, all these other quarterbacks, right, that were drafted in the 90s and also even the 80s, there was no social media, right? This stuff like this wasn't coming out about, mental and all this stuff. Now have social media, things are expanded, and we see some of the things that Caleb's done. I understand he was crying on the sidelines, his mom, all these things, but just give him time to to adjust. And look, I still think he's the number one guy. I mean, to me, there's no other quarterback. I as much as I love Jaden Daniels, which I think right system, who knows what he can do in the pros, right? But Caleb, number one to the Bears, I think it makes sense. But if they trade him to get draft picks, which also makes a lot of sense as well, you can't, as Rudy said, you can't go wrong. You either pile up picks, get a quarterback somewhere else, or keep obviously Fields, or you draft Caleb. And listen, if they draft Caleb Williams, the city's going to erupt over there. So,
but Jaden Daniels is a more resilient version of Robert Griffin III, I think. Doesn't have a lot of arm strength, kind of mobile, can run, but doesn't have that power to throw, like the long ball. He can do it with his feet, athletic guy, but if you don't have that arm strength, you got to make up for it somehow, Yeah,
and look, with the type of offenses that are in these days, complex, we look at Purdy, right? A lot of his stuff is what? Dink and dunk, and then obviously the running game and all that stuff.
Mistakes.
So, yeah, as I say, I think there's an offense for him. He's going to have to go to a perfect situation where coach believes in him, and hopefully we could see his career, because sometimes you go to a team, Rudy, and what happens? You get buried in the depth chart and nothing ever happens, right? So hopefully he's just not another guy. I really want to see him succeed. Not every team needs a quarterback, so, it's just one of the things. But if he goes to Atlanta, Rudy, that would be interesting, right?
Who, Jaden Daniels?
Yeah,
So Jaden, I'll be flat out honest. I'm not really high on a lot of the top quarterback prospects this year. I get the hype.
But you're high on Bo Nix. Who would have thought?
No, I love Bo Nix because he has a pocket presence. He's a pretty accurate passer. I'd like the veteran type of quarterback to come in, for a young organization in Atlanta. I do like the veteran presence. And it's weird calling a rookie a veteran, but you're right. He's been in college for so long. He's older than damn near half these kids that he's going to be playing with. To me, it's just a better fit there. Would I take the explosiveness out of the first three guys? I would probably take Jaden Daniels before Caleb, definitely. I would take him before Drake May. I would take Jaden Daniels. If you're giving me those three options, I'm taking Jaden before those three guys, in my opinion, for the Atlanta Falcons. Now, when it comes to Caleb, I've got a lot of concerns. It's all mentality for me. It's all protection of the ball. 32 fumbles in 36 games. That's a lot of fumbles in these games, man. So it's protection of the ball. It's making the right read. It's just getting away from the scheme of things on the offensive side. It's a lot of things that I see with Caleb that can be improved, Gio. But if you are having this trouble at the college level, it's hard to make that transition to the pros. You've got to have some success at some of these basic traits for a quarterback to have a successful NFL career. But then again, it's the rebuild part.
You all aren't even talking about J.J. McCarthy. He could be a better option. He doesn't require a lot of money, dude. No. You could go ahead and just sit him on the bench, see what happens with the dude,
As much as you said about Caleb, he threw for 30 touchdowns, 5 picks, and 3,600 yards. That's still pretty worthy of a QB1. And you know what, Rudy? Time will tell, right? Me and you will have this discussion next year, and we'll see where he's at. And if he's rookie of the year, you better buy me a bunch of roses, okay, Rudy?
You know me, I give credit where credit is due. And if you're right, I will tell you, you're right. You're absolutely right. I still can't give you the Kyler Murray, Daniel Jones credit, because that is still squash, man. That's still very debatable on Kyler Murray versus Daniel.
You're not giving Gio his roses?
Kyler's better than Daniel Jones.
I'm still not. I would give you all the props in the world, but I still think that's about it.
Kyler's short, man. He's
I don't have any control over his height. That's Kyler's parents' fault, man, not my fault.
Kyler's also limited in his height. He can't even see past me, right? So it's
that is my fault. You know what? I don't hear Muggsy Bogues bitching about playing in the NBA. So Kyler Murray shouldn't have to worry about his height.
Kyler Murray is better than Daniel Jones. If we piled a poll or put on TikTok, Rudy, he's better.
Oh,
stop.
Yes.
Stop.
if you put it on TikTok and if you put a poll on Twitter's X, whatever you want to put it on XYZ, who gives a damn? Kyler Murray's going to win 100% of the time because Kyler Murray is the popular of the two. He's the media darling. He's the media darling.
Rudy, when you watch a
nobody will give a shit about the eye test, Gio.
Fully
They're gonna
healthy.
vote for Kyler.
Kyler's been to the playoffs. I know Daniel went with his 15 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. Ooh, come on, Rudy. 15 and 5 in this NFL.
Trent Dilfer won a Super Bowl with shitty stats.
Well,
I mean, come on. You want to call apples to oranges?
Like 5'9", 5'10". He's like what, 26 years old?
Look,
I mean, how much tread does he have left on him, man? He's kind of tiny, Gio.
No, listen. As tiny as he is, he's better than Daniel Jones. I'm sorry. I would not say Daniel Jones is better than Kyler Murray.
That's always been Testaverde, bro. I want to check.
I'm telling you.
I haven't said that I haven't said Daniel Jones is better than Kyler. I'm talking about career-wise. If we put stats on stats, if we put, success on success, who's had the best so far? I mean, for granted, you can say Daniel Jones has had Saquon Barkley, and that's helped him out a whole lot.
Kyler's had more winning seasons.
Exactly. Kyler's had more winning seasons. But I'm talking about the overall play between both guys. Has Daniel Jones, if you give Daniel Jones, if you put Daniel Jones on Arizona, are the Cardinals a playoff team?
No.
So if you put Kyler with the Giants, are they a playoff team?
You talking about this year or when they had, or
any year? Give Daniel Jones Kyler's players.
Okay, first of all, the Giants have like no receivers. They got one tight end, and
dude, they haven't had a receiver since Victor Cruz.
Look, all I'm saying is there's no way that you're saying that Daniel Jones is better than Kyler Murray. That's all I'm going to say about this topic.
This is the great debate. Tim Gonzalez says, how many quarterbacks will be drafted in the first round? I can potentially see 4 going in the first round, possibly 5 if you're really digging deep. But I think 4, the obvious 3, Jaden, Caleb, Drake. And then after that, someone's gonna scratch their balls and take JJ McCarthy. And I just don't I don't think that is even the fact.
There's been some mocks at the Rams. I said, no, thank you.
Oh, yes. I hope they do get him.
JJ McCarthy is a national championship quarterback, but he is not the answer for anything other than a backup, I think, right now.
Hey, maybe he'll go to the Rams and he'll just be there waiting, Rudy. And he'll make the Rams instantly worse, so I'll be able to enjoy that as a Cowboy.
I'm fine with Carson Wentz as my backup, so.
Man. He's just one good sack away from breaking his back, dude.
Hey, he had one start last year against 49ers. He actually looked pretty good.
No, man. That dude, they've given him so many chances, man, and he's showing you who he is, dude.
And, it goes back to, like Tim is saying, Bears should draft Marvin Harrison Jr. That's my thing, Dio, is you said, what if you miss out on Caleb and Justin isn't the guy? You've got guys out there that are going to be available in the second, maybe even the third. Spencer Rattler is another guy who is a very under the radar QB in this draft. You give Spencer.
I didn't see enough of. I don't think Spencer. I mean, look, I get it. He played at South Carolina, and there's really nothing going on right now in South Carolina. So he obviously didn't play well. The team around him. He's an interesting guy. I love Jaden Daniels. There's some interesting prospects out there, though. Like if you look at the full list, right, Rudy, of QB prospects. I mean, you're talking about what's that quarterback again from Oregon?
Bo Nix.
Bo Nix. Do you realistically see him as a franchise quarterback?
That's a great question. I think depending on what situation and what team he goes to, it's possible. I'm going to say it's possible, but I don't see him as a long-term fit when it comes to that. I think he's more of a, plug and play type guy. I think eventually he may become backup, but I can't see him be a starter for right now. And again, it's just the situation. If he's not going to go in the first round, let's be honest. He's going to probably go second, third, maybe. I think more than likely a third round pick is Bo Nix is what I'm thinking. But I mean, franchise quarterback, no. I don't see him as a franchise quarterback at all. One guy that I definitely see that could be a potential franchise quarterback who's going to be there late, Gio. Again, another thing for the Bears, if you miss out on Caleb Williams, you have Michael Penix Jr., a guy that has beaten the odds when it comes to injury and had a stellar season last year. He's another guy that you talk to some guys that are draft experts and stuff. They consider him a late first round guy.
He's a wild card, the biggest wild card.
I think, depending on the situation, could be a really good fit because he's a guy who can get the ball out of his hands
fast
and I'm talking about deadly, just out of his hands quick.
Yeah. As if he stays healthy.
That's the thing. Does he stay healthy? He's been hurt. He was at Indiana for a while and got hurt. I mean, look, if he is put in the right situation, he's another one, Rudy, that is kind of that wild card, depending where you drop. And when you look at the landscape, I mean,
as far as prospects go, coming out of as far as quarterback prospects go, Gio, I think he's the biggest wild card.
Well, yeah, because if you look at teams that need a quarterback, right, the Patriots, right?
Yeah.
They're probably going to draft a QB early, Rudy, right? That's my guess that they won't let that fall. But the Patriots need a quarterback. I mean, the Raiders, I don't know what's going to happen there, but they could potentially get a quarterback. So there are several teams who need a quarterback or teams who kind of build depth, right? Does Penix sit behind Matthew Stafford? Sorry, guys, I had to say about the Rams. But, there's different situations. Yeah, I know. Well, look. Since you hate them so much, I have to at least one show
Never hated the Rams.
Mention the Rams.
I don't care for the Rams. As a Cowboy fan, I don't care for the Rams.
Well, I think the Rams are playing Dallas this year. Last year we didn't do too well, but we'll see.
Definitely a bet, man. I mean, there's other quarterback prospects out there. Joe Milton from Tennessee is a really good prospect. He's going to be a good mid-round guy.
He fits that build.
Yeah, again, you've got prospects. I mean, what's it? Tim Gonzalez even brought up this guy who I've argued with you about, Jordan Travis. I mean, again, a guy who's coming off of an injury who can potentially not be your franchise quarterback, but if Justin Fields doesn't work out, you can at least draft one of these guys and say, okay, we're going to give you the reign for a little bit to just kind of, basically just bridge the gap until we can find that franchise QB. But if you're keeping Justin Fields and trading down, you're going to be able to pair him and give him all he needs to succeed. Again, the biggest thing I harp on with the Bears, $80+ million in cap space, Gio. They can literally build any team they want around Justin Fields right now, and it's kind of weird. I sent you that picture about the running back free agents, and they had Austin Eckler as a Bear, something that you and I talked about, and I mentioned a couple of days ago when I said the perfect scenario for me for the Bears is keep Justin. You have DJ Moore, draft Marvin Harrison Jr. or Neighbors, go get Joe Alt or Ola Afanatu if he's there, one of those guys, to anchor your offensive line. Use your cap space, go get either a Saquon or an Austin Eckler.
Yeah, he needs somebody to throw to.
That's what I'm saying. He needs the one to throw to. And I think Austin would, obviously staying healthy, he's a perfect fit because he is a tool guy that can get out of the backfield. Rudy, one last guy, Michael Pratt from Tulane. He's another guy kind of floating around there. And
yes.
He's going to be a third rounder, I believe, if you want to go further down in the draft.
If I'm looking at Michael Pratt, Gio, and you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but he's not getting the love that he deserves to get. This guy, if I'm a GM and I have basically what's called a fuck around pick in the early second round, if I have 2 second rounders, I'm considering Michael Pratt there out of possibility. Definitely, I'm not letting him drop past the 4th, even though I have a feeling he's going to go.
Doesn't have the arm power, though. That's the thing you got to question.
No, but Michael Pratt, Gio, give everybody lay down on Michael Pratt.
He doesn't have the arm strength, but the thing I've heard about him, the high football IQ, right? Like, that's something that, as Rudy's talked about, probably with Caleb Williams, probably doesn't have. But you look at him, Tulane, Rudy, that's a program that was not really good, right? Like, they've been in the dumps, and I think they were ranked, right, for most of the year, and he kind of took that program off. Huh? Yeah. So yeah, I know. Yeah. So yeah, another thing that Rudy can pile along with Caleb, but no, I think he has the ability to be one of those kind of quarterbacks that probably studies a whole lot, may not have the greatest attributes, but again, right, perfect situation. Look at Patrick Mahomes, right?
Mm-hmm.
He gets drafted by Andy. Listen, when they drafted him, nobody was like, "Wait, Patrick Mahomes?"
Yeah.
But the thing about Patrick though, he had that one game where he had like 700 yards passing with Texas Tech.
He had 1,000 yards in total offense.
It's 1,000 yards in total offense.
Yeah.
Patrick did have a big arm, though, so to give his credit. A big arm, but a kid that just wasn't ready. And obviously, he sat behind Alex Smith for a year. And look, he comes in. So Pratt's probably a guy that needs to sit behind someone, but the opportunities do come in the NFL every so often, and you definitely got to take him. But he's another guy that, look, he's not flashy. As Joe said, he's not a guy that really turns the needle, but right situation, right time. He's another prospect that no one really talks about, but he's going to get drafted probably within the first 4 rounds.
I would think so. I would sure hope so. If he's falling, there's no reason why he should be falling. Michael Pratt, I mean, Jesus, man.
3rd round pick if you can get him. Hey, Cowboys. You always need a quarterback for your future.
I mean, definitely, he's worth the Cowboy pick. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie about that.
Life after Dak. Come on.
Gio, if I'm looking at Michael Pratt, I'm looking at one team, and again, you throw me a team out there that you would like to see Michael Pratt on, but one team I can definitely see Michael Pratt on is New Orleans. I'd love to see him on the Saints. If not the Saints, could you possibly see him in Denver?
Hey, that would be interesting.
Those are the 2 teams that
the Broncos are definitely looking.
Yeah.
News from their camp is Wilson's out of there. They're gonna have to pay him though. That dead money.
Yo, that's right.
But yeah, but you know what? Listen, if you look at Russell Wilson's stats, it was actually really good, Rudy. It's just every time I saw him play, he threw a pass that was 5 yards every play. It's like, dude, are you going to throw the ball down the field? But anyway, the Broncos need a quarterback because they're obviously not going with Wilson. And, Broncos are want to probably hit big here. I don't know if they're going to move up, Rudy. That'd be interesting to see if the Broncos is the team that tries to move up in the draft to get Caleb Williams, because I would like to see Caleb with Sean Payton. But, Rudy, another team, hey, the Raiders, right? Yeah. That team at quarterback, I'm not completely sold, even though they had a good run at the end of the season. But the Raiders is a team. The Falcons, we've talked about maybe them getting Jalen Daniels. But look, one of these quarterbacks in the later rounds are going to hit. Statistically, it's bound to happen. The Cowboys did hit once upon a time with Dak Prescott, right, Joe? So,
he has better days behind him, man. Just like Russell Wilson's, dude.
Dakota Prescott, man. But
Dakota Prescott.
Honestly, with the Michael Pratt thing, Giro, the perfect fit is definitely, it's got to be New Orleans, man. I think that system fits him really well with Olave there. I mean, then you got A.T. Perry. I think New Orleans, if they were to get Michael Pratt, that would be a huge win for them. You have to go, and then you talked about sitting behind someone. I mean, you've got Derek Carr. Just give Derek Carr that 1 year. Let Michael Pratt, basically season for that year. I think Michael Pratt can really make some noise in New Orleans.
I mean, so another team is a wild card. Look at the Giants. What are they going to do, Rudy? Your boy. What are they going to do over there in New York? Because
the case has been made. I've made the case. I told you, text message, even on the show. What the Giants need to do is, if they really believe in Caleb, trade up to 1. They can trade up. They have the capability to trade up to 1 and get Caleb Williams. I think if they were to do that, again,
Caleb with the New York with the New York media is
the market. He wants a big market. All the bullshit coming out from the combine this week about, well, I'd like to play for the Bears. He's saying all the right things, man. That's all it is. When you're a prospect,
but to me though,
you're saying all the right shit.
Caleb should want to play. He should want to play for the Bears. Look, granted, they haven't had a quarterback, so it's like, dude, if you do great here, trust me, you're going to get a trophy. And if he wins a Super Bowl, I mean, forget about it. He's going to have a street named after him. But the Bears are dying for a quarterback. Look, I get it. Chicago, people hear a lot of news about it, but it's a blue blood football city. It's been there for a long time. Mm-hmm. You have the fans, the food, the culture, all that stuff there. Why would you not want to play in Chicago and kind of be the quote-unquote savior of a city that, look, how many successful quarterbacks, Rudy, have the Bears had since Jim McMahon? Jay Cutler was Jay Cutler was the closest, and Jay was Dr. Jekyll, Dr. Hyde, right? Like in one way he's good, and the next moment he's throwing 5
Bears, bro. He was just smoking cigarettes, just sitting down,
earning
his money.
Wasn't Jay Cutler's biggest accomplishment marrying what's her name? Was it Christian?
Hey,
Cavalier or something.
I mean, they did have Rex Grossman for like 1 year, who led to a Super Bowl. But why would you want to go to a franchise now? If he goes to New York, I mean, look, the pressure with the New York media, and they could be. I mean, Chicago could be tough too, but New York's definitely up there as one of the tougher cities to.
I'm just saying that if the Giants want to make a splash, the thing is this: if I'm not,
I just don't love. You know how I feel about Dayball. I
know. But no quarterback's going to be able to play under Dayball. Nobody's going to play under Dayball.
Well, Josh Allen did. And I think Dayball just wants to I think he's just dying for a good quarterback. And unfortunately, he doesn't have one.
There's no QB that can do that. Yeah, so Tim is asking which draft prospects might surprise everyone.
I got one for you guys. Just
give me one, Joe. And then do you want offense or defense? How about we just give one and one? Joe, give me yours. Gio and I will give us ours. Give them ours.
Okay. Well, I'll go ahead and give you mine. Let me see. I was looking right now, and the guy that kind of interests me is probably Kool-Aid McKinstry, cornerback out of Alabama. Mm-hmm. You know, I think he has great foot speed, and he has the tools. He just needs some development. And if he can go ahead and get some experience at that NFL level, I think he can be one of these guys that falls in the later round of the draft that could actually be one of these guys that gives you good production on the field in his later years. You know, of course, learning everything in your year one, he's probably going to get cooked if somebody does draft him and put him out there on the field. But if he can put some things together, I think he can be a solid corner in the league.
Yeah, Gio, you got two prospects, one on offense, one on defense that you're looking at that could basically surprise everyone.
You know, I like Malachi McCourley, Rudy.
You asshole. That's mine.
That kid, look, I see him play. I see a Deebo Samuels. He's that electric. That's a guy that you put in space. I mean, depending on what offense he goes to, all right? Listen, Sean McVay, if you're listening, put that guy on your draft board because if he's a Ram, I'm telling you right now, Puka Nacua 2.0. But no, he's a kid who can run. He's quick twitch, right? He can get on space. I mean, there's a lot of things to love about Malachi. And look, he did play for a small school, but I just really love the opportunity for him to be on any offense that's has the opportunity to really move the ball. Watch out for him.
Look at JC's comment, Rudy.
Oh, who's it? Oh, Kool-Aid, watch out for the diabetes. Yeah. Seeing that one right there as well. Yeah, Kool-Aid. I mean, you know, Kool-Aid's he's a really good prospect. I like him at all. I know Gio went with the guy that I was looking at, which was Malachi Corley out of Western Kentucky.
Stop it, Rudy.
Don't give me that because I've been mentioning Malachi Corley for a while, and I said he's going to be drafted by Kansas City at the end of the first. That's where I think he's going. If he's not, if they don't take him, my offensive surprise that everybody really needs to know about is wide receiver Troy Flanken out of Oregon. Another guy that can create separation. He has elite speed. The separation downfield he gets from the DBs and the corporate, it's just going to be unreal. A guy like him with Patrick Mahomes and Rashee Rice and Travis Kelce, again, I think the receiving core in this draft is really, really good. You're going to find some really, really good wide receivers. That's kind of why the Bengals, I think, are okay with maybe packaging a T. Higgins, maybe letting Tyler Boyd go, because they can find another really good receiver here. Troy Franklin out of Oregon is one guy that I am really, really high on, because I can't be high on Malachi Corley because Gio decided to steal my surprise offensive pick. Let's go to the defensive side, Gio. Give me a defensive prospect for Tim Gonzalez who you think is going to be that guy. Or should I go, because, you stole my first one?
Go ahead, Rudy.
You want me to go? Fine. Give me the defensive side of the ball. We're going with the 6'5", 265-pound boy. This guy's good, man. Out of UCLA, Laiatu Latu. He's going to be a surprise in the NFL, barring medical problems. Again, I'm really highlighting that. The medical issue is big with him, but if he stays healthy, man, he's going to be a pass rusher like no other. High ceiling. He has a quick burst. He has length. He has the ability to just – his hands movement is fantastic off the line. He can get to the quarterback. He's just an all-around hell of a player, and that's one guy that I am watching for. Richard Gio, I had him being drafted in the top 15, possibly top 10 in some mock drafts. He's kind of fallen in a couple of places. He's kind of going all over the first round. But again, if you want defensive presence, who I think he's actually better than Dallas Turner out of Alabama, I'm going with Laiatu Latu out of UCLA.
Well, Rudy, you actually stole my guy.
See, I had to, because I knew you were going to go with Latu, so I'm giving you payback.
Well, look, there are a lot of interesting defensive guys in the draft. I mean, you have Austin Booker from Kansas. There's Miles Murphy from North Carolina, your boy. On the defensive, though, even though there are a lot of guys, I can't really pinpoint exactly who's going to be my sleeper, but I did mention two guys that from kind of the defensive front, but there are a lot of edge guys, though, that Jared be very intrigued. Javon Solomon from Troy. He's another one that I actually saw some film of him the other day. The list goes on. How about Rudy? I don't remember his name, but he is a cornerback from Iowa.
Cooper DeJean?
And he's white.
Okay.
So
Cooper DeJean from
well, I'm saying that because we don't have any white corners in the NFL. So he's another also interesting pick that I feel like, depending on obviously the situation, he's going to end up on some team, and I really want to see how well he does, because look, it's not rocket science.
He's got a leg injury. He's got a leg injury right now.
Yeah.
That is kind of concerning, but I think he'll be fine. In past years, cornerback's been a staple in a lot of these drafts. You can go out and get a really good cornerback. In this one, it's kind of weak, in my opinion. The secondary in this draft is pretty damn weak. Outside of Cooper, I mean, maybe a Nate Wiggins, but one guy to watch too is out of Toledo. Quinion Mitchell is another guy at corner that I really, really like. But again, he's not getting the love of, like, if you go to Kool-Aid McKinstry, you have Nate Wiggins. Again, Cooper's getting a lot of love. Terrion Arnold is another guy that's getting a lot of love out of Alabama. But everybody's falling asleep on Quinton Mitchell out of Toledo, man. I think Quinton Mitchell is probably the number 2 guy on my board when it comes to quarterbacks.
Don't forget about my boy from Georgia. Was it Kamir
Lassiter? Yeah. Again, there's a lot of good guys, but I think it's
there's really
draft when it comes to corners.
The defense isn't in general. It's like, I don't know. I feel like this year offense really is really, because I mean, for Georgia, how many defensive guys are going to go in the first round this year, Rudy? I mean,
none.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So,
I can't see any.
For Georgia not having any first-round defensive drafts, you could see that the strain's definitely going to be on the offensive side of the football. There's also another cornerback. I mean, when you look at the list, I mean, TJ Tampa from Iowa State. I mean, some of these guys just probably would just be guys.
I don't know if you all talked about Latu or not, but there's another one out there, corner.
Yeah. Latu, yeah. So one guy that dropped a lot, Gio. I mean, at the cornerback position, and he dropped a whole lot. He was actually a first round cornerback on a lot of people's mocks early. Was Kalen King out of Penn State, and I kind of liked what I saw out of Kalen. I think he's dropping probably to maybe second round, third round looks right now. I think he's going to be a second rounder from Penn State, 5'11", 191 pounds. But this is a guy who was probably number 3 or 4 on a lot of people's boards early on in the draft process, even throughout the college football season. Caleb King's dropped a lot. I think he reminds me a lot of the kid from Utah last year that got drafted. He actually got drafted by the Falcons, and my mind just went blank right now. But again, another solid cornerback that's going to be going late in a weak cornerback class. I mean, you're talking Cam Hart out of Notre Dame's another one. Enos Rakestraw Jr. from Missouri is another one. You got a lot of good corners, but nothing that's going to be a shutdown corner. Not like a Devon Witherspoon or anybody like that coming out.
What about
you? Don't have that.
Leons? None of those in this prospect.
Yeah.
Well, when it comes to also safeties, I mean, Javon Bullard from Georgia, maybe Rudy. The first round is always interesting because you're always going to have really a few guys that you're like, he probably should have won in the second round. So you may have potential for a safety, but I mean, Tyler Newman's probably the best one from Minnesota. I think he's ranked probably the highest of the corners the last time I checked. But
is Tyler Newman the best?
No. I mean, from the safety spot.
I'm saying for you, you're putting Tyler Newman as up there as number 1 on your safety years.
It's between him or Javon Bullard from Georgia, which I think, depending on obviously the situation, could start day one. But then again, the safety spot, Rudy, you know how that is. There are a lot of factors that go into playing safety because now you got to stop the run, right? A lot of these safeties are playing in the box, and they're also covering these big tight ends coming out. So it's between those two guys. But to me, the defense this year, Rudy, it's cute, but it's all about the offense this year. And in my opinion,
you don't have anybody that you like to mention as far as, let's say, offensive tackles.
This draft's going to have a good amount of offensive line help. Anywhere from Troy Fontanatu out of Washington. I mean, you have Graham Barton out of Duke, which I can't believe.
Mims out of Georgia as well.
Christ. Marius Mims out of Georgia. You have Fashanu out of Penn State. Joe Alt is probably the number 1 rated guy, even though I like Fashanu a lot better than Joe Alt. One guy that I really like that's actually kind of fallen some ways, Patrick Paul out of Houston. I like Patrick Paul a lot out of Houston. Jordan Morgan's actually risen lately, in my opinion, when it comes to. But one guy, Gio, everybody loves him. Some Graham Barton out of Duke, but I think the number 1 center out of this class is going to be Jackson Powers Johnson out of Oregon. I would take Jackson Power. I would take JPJ before Graham Barton pretty much any day. But even at that, after JPJ, I'm on the Cedric Van Pran bandwagon when it comes out of Georgia for center. Those two guys are probably my first 2 looks before Graham Barton.
As far as offensive tackles, you ain't gonna give no love to Fauga?
Oh, no. I mean, he's gonna be probably first round look, I think, but
he's later. He'll probably fall later, I think.
He's probably going to be mid first, late first. Fauga. It just depends if somebody wants him that bad. I think you're going to have.
Look, Mims from Georgia, Rudy. That's a big kid. He's about 3. I think he's 350.
Jeez.
I mean,
he should go before. He should go before Talise. There's no doubt about that. In fact, I would take Mims before Talise, but right after Alter Fashion.
I'd like to see Jimenez get tackled by that dude.
Look. There's no, secret that I'm a big Georgia fan, so I definitely hope he goes, and he will. I mean, he's such a talented kid, and the size and the footwork. I mean, the offensive tackle spot this year is pretty good. You got Christian Jones from Texan, Jonathan Morgan from Arizona. There's a lot of good tackles. You can never project everybody, but my boy Mims, another Georgia guy who's probably going to go in the first round if anything kind of scares anybody. But
hey, I wanted to say something, Gio. Somebody gave you some love, a shout out earlier on our show, and they were saying that Gio has the voice of an angel. That it's great for voiceovers.
You know what's funny? I've done some videos for my job, and someone said, Gio, you should do voiceover work. And I was like, I never really thought about it.
Hey, at the end of the day, man, your voice isn't half bad. It's like we might have Gio do some ad reads for us or something.
Yeah, that would be a good thing.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I just thought I'd pass on the accolade that somebody wanted to go ahead and give you. You can add that to the repertoire, voiceover work.
Yeah, I know.
Put it on your resume. Put it on that resume, man. Voiceover work for
Rudy, what do you think of the tackle? And I was going to ask you this the other day, but there's a tackle from Yale. He has a long name.
Kieran,
yeah.
Amgaji.
Yeah.
Kieran Amgaji.
Yeah. What do you think about him? You know, he's an Ivy Leaguer, right? So sometimes you just never know, right? Like he hasn't played against any big time. Do you think he gets drafted or he goes undrafted?
No, he definitely gets drafted. So with Kieran, I'm trying to remember my rankings on him. I think I have him number 14, I believe, 13 on the offensive tackle side. So where I would take him, he's probably going to be a fourth round pick for me, fourth or fifth round pick. Let's be real, man. Tackles, any offensive lineman is going to go in this draft. I mean, unless you're completely terrible, a team's going to take use one or two of their picks on them to go with an offensive lineman. Kieran he's not a bad prospect. I like him, but again, I'm going to go with more. If I'm going to go, small school guys. I mean, it's not a small school, but Satua Larnia out of Utah is one guy I would probably go before Kieran. It's just kind of those things. Yeah, I think he's a fifth rounder for me, fourth or fifth rounder. I don't think he goes undrafted. I think he does get drafted.
I think he goes probably fourth. It kind of depends on team needs, but
we're actually in the same area with him.
Tackles are kind of gold, right? So it's like, man, if you get a big left or right tackle in this league for a good 10 years, but he's just interesting as well, just because of like, man, he plays at such a small school, right? Hasn't really probably played against any big time competition, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, Matthew Lermer. Hey, had to do some work today, but happy call. Hey, Matt, thanks for joining us, man. We really appreciate it. This is Sweep the League with Coach Gio. Joe Garcia is actually joining us from the Two Shots Podcast, Alamo City Sportscast, with Michael Jimenez. What?
Will you be joining us tomorrow for the Spaces with Matt?
As of right now, I should be able to join you guys for the Spaces at least. So I'll be doing that because I have to make all the public appearances because Gio can't make public appearances anymore.
Well, he can join us too if he wants to, man. But just be warned, man. If you join,
Gio won't make Sweep the League if he goes to the Spaces. So he can only take certain time off.
I'm just telling you, those Spaces get wild, bro.
I've seen them and I'm kind of nervous about them, but then again, not too.
A lot of bickering, man. Hey, bro, I gotta go. My brother-in-law's here. I gotta help him move some stuff around, but it was nice chatting with you guys. Appreciate it.
We'll take a quick commercial break, but as you go, we'll let Joe Garcia go. Thank you, Joe. We'll see you again on Sweep the League, but we're gonna go to commercial break. When we get back, we'll talk more NFL draft.
Peace. MCS General Contracting, more than 30 years of combined experience in concrete placement. They are the best in the business, honest pricing, high quality work. They get going on house foundations, driveways, concrete patio decks. If you want to extend the deck, extend the driveway. If you're a business and you need to put together a slab, a parking lot, or other concrete placement services or sidewalks, reach out to MCS General Contracting at 210-774-9155. They're confident in their skills, so give Chris Leha over at MCS General Contracting a call at 210-774-9155. And thank you for being a sponsor of this show.
Thank you, Chris Leha. I appreciate all your contributions here to the Alamo City Sportscast. We're going to get back into it here. Let's see. So Matt's in here. I'll record the space so Gio can listen later. Definitely, Gio. We'll take a listen to it later. Hold on, I got to shoot this off. Yeah, as soon as Gio gets the chance to listen to the spaces. Should I mention anything in that spaces, Gio, for the Spurs that you want me to mention for you? Should I start some shit in the spaces?
I could probably be there. I mean, even though I'm working, I can have something on the background, Rudy.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. I don't know your work. I mean, you're really CEO.
I work from home. I work from home, Rudy. I don't work at a gas pump. I can't listen. But no, I'll definitely hop into the
Okay.
Oh,
So
Twitter Spaces.
as of now, Gio and I will both actually be in there. Whether I contribute, we might be able to, but yeah, I will definitely be in there. Well, yeah, Chet Wemby's going to feed families for years. Yeah, it's going to be a Chet Wemby versus Wemby. So it's tonight, Chet versus Wemby again. We talked about that earlier today, but we got a little bit more time here on the show. We're going to talk more NFL draft stuff. So we talked about the Bears. We talked about, there's no right, there's no wrong. They can do no right, they can do no wrong, basically, in Chicago. Another team that's kind of in that middle area is the Washington Commanders, and they're sitting at number 2 now. They have the ability to. They have a good amount of cap space as well. I mean, going into the next season, they have a new coach. Obviously, Dan Quinn's there. They're making moves, Gio. And is it safe to say that with the successful offseason for the Commanders, that you're probably looking at the better team in the NFC East next season? Because, again, they're one of the teams that hold a lot of cards in their hands. They can legitimately say Sam Howell is our guy, not get a QB. They could, but trade down to give Dan Quinn all those picks again. Now, remember, the key for me is, okay, Sam Howell, basically, he did okay. He didn't do great. He didn't do terrible. He did okay. But now you've got Kingsbury there, who we've seen him work some wonders with QBs. So would you give Sam Howell that year with Kingsbury, trade out of the second pick, and just load up on draft picks? It's tough, isn't it? It's a tough one.
It's back to the Chicago Bears thing, right? Like, to me, I think Jaden Daniels in this offense could work wonders. Obviously still young, but I just think a young quarterback there building. And listen, he played okay. Thought he had his sparks. I mean, they had that shootout against the Eagles that they won, but really, I just think that Howell's just another guy. And at the quarterback position, you need someone who is going to lead your team. Also, quarterbacks need to be dynamic, right? Not just run, not just throw, but also run. And I think Jaden can be that guy. Drake Mays, I don't know, really. I just don't see the appeal. I could be dead wrong. I could be completely dead wrong on May, but if I'm the Commanders, you already have the draft or the money, right? So yeah, the draft pick, sure, but Jaden Daniels there, I think that could be a home run hit for a franchise who, let's be honest, Rudy, they haven't had a quarterback in a while there since probably Robert Griffin, which is kind of ironic because he would be kind of the real similar to him. So
to Jaden Daniels. I mean, when I look at the Commanders, I look at the option to, I have the money, I have the draft pick. If I stay at 2, am I contacting Kirk Cousins for a reunion to bring him back to Washington to where I can use the number 2 pick and go get a Harrison Jr. to go alongside McLaurin and, to kind of help out, with the offense there. I mean, they've got decent running backs.
No, they have running backs. They have some receivers there. Might need to go get a tight.
I mean, I did too. Yeah. I mean,
they have the pieces, Rudy. And look, Kirk Cousins, a reunion in Washington with a brand new ownership, new coaching staff. I think Kurt would be a good fit. I think you get Kurt because you feel like with the pieces you got in the offseason that you could potentially make not necessarily a Super Bowl run, right, but a playoff run. Mm-hmm. I don't think you bring Kurt in for not necessarily a rebuild, but like a team is not going anywhere. But if you feel like you're going to go somewhere and you feel like, hey, we could beat the Cowboys this year, we can beat the Philadelphia Eagles, then why not go also get Kirk Cousins? That's also another one that I thought about, but wasn't quite sure if it made a whole lot of sense because Kurt needs to go to a team that's ready now. Kurt shouldn't go to like the Patriots, right? Like they're not ready right now. Like there's certain teams. So I will say though, the Patriots, they have a good defense and they have some offensive weapons, but nonetheless, I think Jane Daniels just makes a whole lot of sense, Rudy. Put some butts in the seats and new ownership, a ton of new players coming in. You have a young quarterback built with that.
So
Well, why not do it that way?
Where I look at it is you have Byron Robinson Jr. You've got the running game, you've got the receivers, but where I look at the Kirk Cousins thing coming into Washington is what you said, the rebuild part. They have the pieces in place now to compete.
Well, their defense has been kind of,
but
has
you
been
can
picked.
draft. Yeah, you can kind of draft, but with as much cap space as they have going in, which I'm going to look it up real quick because I want to make sure I get the right number. But with as much cap space as coming in, you gotta think they can go out and build a defense, man. I mean, today you heard that the Chiefs are going to tag L'Jarius Sneed, and they're going to try to trade him. Basically, they're going to say we're trying to work a long-term deal. We'll tag you and all that, but we're going to basically say, okay, we can go after Chris Jones if you want. Gio, they have the most cap space right now at 82+ million. The Washington Commanders. So you have the number 2 pick. If you go and get a Cousins, you're saying we want to win now. Do you really think guys like McLaurin and all these other guys want to stick around for a rebuild? You're going to have to start again. It's the Bears thing all over again. The Patriots are probably the best team because they're sitting at 77+ million available cap space, but they don't have anything to do. Basically, they're not shooting for anything. They're in a rebuild where you have a Bears team who you can make that rebuild now, it happen now, or you have a Commanders team where there's places in place. All you got to do is just plug and, pick a guy out there like Kirk Cousins.
I just feel like Kirk is just a Band-Aid. Kirk's not a long-term solution, Rudy. To me, you want to start now, this year, with Jaden Daniels, or if they move up or whatever the case may be, get their quarterback. You start now. Listen, Kirk Cousins, great. But if Kirk Cousins gets hurt and he has a guaranteed contract, then where are you going to go, Rudy, if he gets hurt again? With an Achilles injury, Rudy, is not always that simple. You know that. It takes time. One thing coming back from a torn ACL, right? But an Achilles injury, that's different. And Rudy, if they sign him to a big deal and he's not, what happens if he's never the same? Then what do you do?
Okay, I guess the last question I want to ask on the Commanders, and before we go here, what would be the ideal contract for Kirk Cousins? I mean, he's coming off that injury, and he's already old enough.
He's already old enough. Kurt's probably going to want a 3 or 4 year deal.
20 a year? Is that fair? That's way low.
He's going to – that's low. He's going to have more than that.
No, I'm saying, but what is a fair amount?
Oh, fair. Well, what I would pay him to what the Commanders are going to have to pay him is completely different. We would say I would say 20 mil. I mean, of course, but they're going to have to pay him 40 plus mil.
I figured 40 million was that number you're going to have to get for
That's
Kirk
probably going to be the number. And remember, he had a guaranteed contract, Rudy.
Yeah.
It was the first quarterback in a long time, if ever, to have guaranteed. So I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, if you're looking at, like I said, you have Washington, Tennessee. I mean, there's a lot of these teams don't want to throw all that money away. Not on Kirk Cousins, man. And that's where I was telling you about, okay, so look at this. The Giants right here, 35 million cap space.
How about the Raiders?
The Raiders, they are number 10. They have 47 million.
The Raiders have a defense. Right, a formidable defense to put with that offense.
You got to re-sign Josh Jacobs.
Josh is good, but I don't know what their thought is, because Rudy, if you were going to sign him, you would have already done it.
So he's going to walk. I mean, you're not. Yeah. I mean, they're going to probably franchise tag him. That's probably the only thing they can do is franchise tag Josh Jacobs. But I mean, again, a lot of these teams are not going to want to blow their money on Kirk Cousins if he's commanding 40 million, dude.
Someone's going to do it, Rudy. So someone's going to do it.
Is it going to? I mean, say he commands 40, Gio. You eliminate everybody from Minnesota down because they're right under 40 million in cap space availability. Minnesota has their own issues. I mean, they're going to end up likely having to move on from Justin Jefferson if they do re-sign Kirk Cousins. Let's be honest.
Well,
that's a massive tag.
Kurt's not, from what I'm seeing and reading, Kurt's not coming back to Minnesota. So
no. So you free that up. But where else would he go inside that top 12 teams right there? I mean, nobody really would spend that kind of money. New England, I don't see them doing it. They're in a full rebuild. Chicago? No. I mean, Tennessee has
so what? So
yet.
What's the team? So then,
in other words, is there even a place for Kirk to go if he wants that kind of money?
So the Raiders are kind of the team that I'm throwing out there, and I'm just throwing it because they might just go with their young guy and keep pushing forward. Why pay someone coming off an injury? The Falcons are another team with Raheem Morris. Does he want to have a veteran QB? I believe Raheem. Did he coach? Was he on the staff with Washington, with McVay and them? I don't remember if Raheem was there. But anyway, he could be a Falcon, Rudy.
He could be. But all these reports coming out today.
He could be an Atlanta Falcon. I would not be surprised simply because the Falcons, I thought they were just a quarterback away last year from at least making the playoffs.
From winning the division, they were.
Yeah, from the division. So Atlanta, the Raiders, that's probably the team already, unless a surprise team from the bottom, but the Seahawks aren't doing it. The Packers, Chiefs, none of those teams are doing it like you said. So it's got to be the Falcons or the Raiders. I don't see. I mean, the Giants still have Daniel Jones debacle. Carolina already has a quarterback. It's interesting. Minnesota may, from what I'm hearing, they're not going to do it, but it's the Raiders it's the Raiders and the Falcons. Maybe they get a discount. I don't know.
But Justin Fields, if he's traded, he's going to be in Atlanta. I mean, every sign points to Atlanta with Justin Fields. Every sign. As much as I'm fine with it, I don't care. I mean, it's better than what we have there right now.
I would never.
Go ahead.
I would never forgive Kirby Smart. You had Justin Fields in your program, and you went with Jake Fromm. And I think Kirby still beat. I'm sure Kirby still does probably beat himself over that. But yeah, no. Look, if Justin goes to Atlanta, then where does Kurt go besides Minnesota? I really,
again, I think Atlanta is the center for a lot of this whole quarterback stuff because then like I said, I believe Daniel Jones is on a 1-year, $30 million option. For one more year. You just have to use him for 1 year. Do you sign Kurt?
Rudy, why? I don't. Why did they sign Daniel Jones to that contract?
Again, there was. It's the Dak Prescott fiasco, Gio.
Oh, you didn't know, but
there's nobody there.
Okay, but Dak has consistently made the playoffs. Daniel had one good year of 15-5. Rudy, 15-5. Mahomes can throw 15 touchdowns in 3 games. This guy did it for the entire season. He got a contract extension?
I get that.
This makes no sense to me. Just because you struck gold 1 year with Dayball, which I do think he's a really good offensive mind, and the best you got from Daniel was 15-5. That's all. If that's all you did, move on from him. And Rudy, they could have got somebody else. Jimmy Garoppolo, I don't know. They could have went out there and got somebody else. Seriously, though, they really could have done something else instead of keeping Daniel Jones at 15-5.
Mm-hmm.
Your boy threw 15 touchdowns and 5 picks in that playoff year. Give me a break.
Just because I said he was better than Kyler in the
Rudy, he's your boy. Stop it.
He is not my boy. You got to remember. It's going to be tough, man. But hey, we have used all of our time today for Sweep the League. And you know what? Tomorrow is Friday, Gio. Flashback Friday. We're going to open up the vault. Derek Gervin is going to be back with us hopefully tomorrow. So we'll have more NBA talk, old NFL talk. We'll have it all. we're actually in the process of, like I said, getting some former athletes, whether it be NBA, NFL. We're working on those guys to come on the show. Next week, I kind of already got confirmation. We're going to have the mock draft guy with us next week. And I think Gio and I are going to do a mock draft of ourselves so we can kind of talk about that, where we go. Who knows? Maybe we'll do a mock draft on air. That would be a cool thing to do for Gio and myself. We'll switch back and forth on picks and kind of see where we go. But until then, man, this is Rudy Campos Jr. for Coach Gio. Thank you, Joe Garcia, for joining us. Breaking news, Caitlin Clark will enter the WNBA draft. I kind of figured that was happening already. She's been in college for a while, so I figured it was going to happen. She's going to go number 1 regardless. But for Coach Gio, it's Rudy Campos Jr. Until we sweep the league again next time, we'll see you later, Knuckleheads.